And, you know, he said he wanted to attack Iran and what? These are the papers. This was done by the military, given to me.
Yeah, well, trying to
Declassified.
figure out yeah.
See, as president, I could have declassified it. Now I can't, you know, but this is classified.
Now we have a problem.
Isn't that?
Actually hear a former president of the United States committing a felony, probably multiple felonies, on audio tape while laughing about it is something I think it's just stunning.
The question is, should we be putting someone like this forward as the leader of the country, leader of the free world, who's engaged in this kind of conduct?
I have real questions about Joe Biden.
Now, while he did say, you know, this is stuff that he got from the military that would be highly confidential and secret, that does not confirm for me whether or not specifically this document was declassified or not.
This sounds familiar. Where have I seen that before?
Double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lloyd. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. Lloyd, you
What we have here is a tale of two worlds. There's reality.
See, as president, I could have declassified it. Now I can't, you know. But this is classified. Isn't that interesting? It's so cool. Can we get some Cokes? I mean, in Jack Smith bringing charges against Donald Trump, the sort of crux of the case, right, is that the prosecution has to be able to prove that Trump had classified documents in his possession after he left the presidency, right? That's the illegal activity alleged in the indictment. And here in this part of the tape is Donald Trump saying he had possession of classified information after leaving the presidency.
Well, the former president is on tape showing a classified document to an unnamed person who may or may not have clearance, by the way, we don't know. A document that he said he couldn't declassify, but once said he declassified with a thought.
I did declassify, yes.
Okay. Is there a process? What was your process to declassify?
There doesn't have to be a process, as I understand it. You know, there's different people say different things, but as I understand, there doesn't have to be. If you're the president of the United States, you can declassify just by saying it's declassified, even by thinking about it.
Before later saying that he didn't have the document at all to declassify in the first place.
The Iran attack plan, you remember that?
Ready?
You were recorded.
It wasn't a document.
Okay.
I had lots of paper. I had copies of newspaper articles. I had copies of magazines.
I know. This is specifically a quote. You're quoted on the recording saying the document was secret, adding that you could have declassified it while you were president, but, quote, now I can't. You know, this is still secret, highly confidential. And the indictment cites the recording and the testimony from people in the room saying you showed it to people there that day. So you say on this, on tape.
It says just the opposite.
That you can't.
Then there's the other world, the Fox News world, where none of this happened, or if it did, it was somehow Hunter Biden's fault.
Well, number one, he's right about Hillary Rodham Clinton, top secret classified documents on her servers, outlined extensively by Jim Comey in July of 2016, but no reasonable prosecutor would prosecute.
Yeah, all those questions will be answered in a court of law. I do agree with Ari. We have to look at and respect classification. It's important for national security. It's important for the people who gather and collect that information and sometimes put their lives on the line doing so, oftentimes, I should say. That being said, I agree this case would not have been brought against any other candidate. I have real questions about Joe Biden, not just taking classified information when he had no declassification authority, but taking them during a time as senator when he had no right to take them, when he viewed them in a skiff and somehow they exited with him. And President Trump is right to point to many of those double standards.
And we can't forget here that this entire thing came about because of reckless conduct of the president. If he had just turned over the documents, which I think every other person in the country would have done, they're the government's documents. They're official records. They're not his personal records. Battle plans for an attack on another country or Defense Department documents about our capabilities are in no universe Donald J. Trump's personal documents.
Now, if you flick through the mainstream media, that is, if for some reason you weren't right here getting your news from the Midas Mighty unpaid ad, you would have seen segments like the following.
How damning is this for the former president, do you think?
Well, they special counsel already had Trump dead to rights because we knew this tape existed in some form. But to actually hear a former president of the United States committing a felony, probably multiple felonies, on audio tape while laughing about it is something I think it's just stunning. And I just don't see how. I mean, I can understand exactly why Trump's legal advisors think that this really changes the complexion of the case, because I just don't see how a jury is going to, I don't know how you can explain that in front of a jury. I mean, he's waving around a document, he's saying it's confidential. It is almost by definition one of the most confidential things you could possibly have, which is, the off-the-shelf plan to attack a potential enemy of the United States of America. I mean, that's very, very valuable top secret information. It's something that the Iranians would probably pay tens of millions of dollars for.
But if the remote control found its way to your uncle, who's convinced that RFK Jr. is going to bicep curl the country back to the good old days.
I don't want a guy who could be an assistant trainer at Planet Fitness to be the president.
And he flicked it over to Fox. Well, you'd have seen some spinning that even Nadia Comaneci would be proud of.
We also have to think how this will be litigated on a national stage in a national election. And President Trump, one thing he can do here is he can say routinely on the campaign trail, we're talking about me, but we should be talking about you, the American people. We should be talking about the economy. We should be talking about inflation, the horrors of the Joe Biden presidency. But we're talking about me because the DOJ has taken action in a manner that they haven't taken it against other people similarly situated in the past.
Now, what this shows is two things. The tape itself is yet another example of how unapologetically narcissistic this man is, with his entire life being a case study in what happens when you're given free rein to function above the law. You really do think that you're bulletproof and can do whatever you want.
I was just saying, because we were talking about it, and he said he wanted to attack Iran and what? These are the papers. This was done by the military, given to me. I think we can probably, right?
I don't know, we'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to
Declassify.
figure out
See, as president, I could have declassified it. Now I can't.
There was no document. That was a massive amount of papers and everything else talking about Iran and other things. And it may have been held up or may not, but that was not a document. I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories.
But it also shows that Trump could probably walk into a primetime Fox News spot with said classified document. He'll have it say at the top of the document in block red writing, top secret, hold it up to the camera, then to the host, and even say the words, hey, look, this is a classified document. Do you want to see the classified document that you should not be seeing? And I'd assume they'd sooner pull it at his face to see if it's a body double than admit to Trump's wrongdoing. When you take that into consideration, what does that sound like to you?
I feel bad for those people because they are essentially in a political religious cult. And their cult leader, Donald Trump, is telling them they can't believe their own eyes, the evidence of their own experience in their own ears. So we should try to embrace those people and help them through what they're going through because they've been fed lies and they're swallowing the lies. And some of them may have thought they were clever at the beginning, that they could just go along with it and not believe it. But many of them have allowed the lies really to seep into their soul, and it's beginning to rot their minds.
Hey, Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.